Happy Friday, everybody. I hope you had a great week. Today is February 17, 2023, and this is your Friday planning video. Once again, there's been a lot going on this week. We try to separate the signal from the noise here, especially here on the Friday planning video. Today, I wanted to update you on some of the items we've been watching, bring you some more tales from the front line, and finally bring some new planning ideas as we move into the late month 2 of 2023. So first, some updates. Let's talk about student loan debt. I know this doesn't affect everyone, but since it was first announced, there have been a lot of changes, and along with those changes, very little actual movement. If you enrolled like the other 26 million Americans who did so, you've been checking your mail and email for the party favors showing that you've seen your debt erased. If you've kept up with these videos, you know that all that was put on ice when the Supreme Court agreed to hear the 2 cases brought against the president on this one. February 28 is the day, at least for the hearing. We'll see what comes of that. While we wait, the president has wasted no time to create new ways to help borrowers of federal student loans. And yes, it's an acronym, REPAY, with an E at the end. It stands for Revised Pay As You Earn. There are plenty of details, so if you're not going to hold your breath for the SCOTUS outcome, check this out. Overall, the key is that the old way of calculating the payments based on percentages of your income has changed. Instead of paying 10% of your discretionary income per month to loans, you'll only be required to pay 5%. And even that, the income number is calculated differently, based on where the income is above or below the federal poverty line. Regardless, please go to studentaid.gov, sign up, and get more information. Oh, and if you're wondering when this payment pause that's been going on since COVID, that's the rule that says you don't have to make payments on your loans at this time, and your interest will not accrue. Recall, that's been extended and extended. It's currently in open-ended status. The Education Department has said that bills will only be due again after only 60 days after litigation, otherwise known as the SCOTUS decision, on loan forgiveness has been resolved. So stay tuned. Before we move into the long weekend, let's talk about IRA season, and we're about to be there, also known as tax season, and in some places also called spring. Not here in Chicago yet, but we'll see when that comes. Before my amazing compliance team gets upset, let me remind you I do not give personal tax advice. I do look forward to working with you and your tax advisors to execute your personal tax plans. I want to focus on IRAs and the tales from the front lines when I share some of the stories of daily interactions with you and others. Have you made your 2022 IRA contribution? This is a question I get about 2 times a day, and it's a great question. Remember, although 2022 is long gone in the rearview mirror, the wonders of IRA rules allow you to make those prior year contributions until April 15 or April 18 of this year, as I mentioned last week. What are those numbers and what does that mean to you? First, let's wrap up 2022 before I go into 2023. All contribution limits are subject to rules and possible phase-out eligibility depending on your income, so check that out as well. Last year, 2022, limits were $6,000 for those under the age of 50, $7,000 for those over the age of 50. If you've not maxed out that number, I'd consider for most of you to use the limit before you move into 2023. That'll leave you the most flexibility in getting as much into your IRAs as possible. Please begin to make those arrangements soon. We'll want to assist you in making that happen, so the sooner you tell us, the better. Let's talk 2023 also. Limits have gone up, $6,500 for those under 50, $7,500 for over 50, just to put a number on that. For those of you under 50, if you want to break that up over the year, if you're doing 12 months, it's a bit over $541 a month. If you want to start in March, that is $650 per month for the next 10 months. I've mentioned this many times about the idea of monthly investments. Remember, that's how corporate retirement plans are usually so successful. Once or twice a month, rain or shine on Wall Street, the account gets a new deposit to buy into the predetermined investment plan. Dollar cost averaging, as it's called, can be a good plan. There are times it doesn't work, so please let's discuss. Another item I hear from the front lines, spousal IRA rules. I've seen many couples with only one spouse working at this time only contribute to one retirement plan. Spousal IRA rules for traditional and Roth IRAs, you can make spousal IRA contributions for your spouse even if they don't have earned income. The limits still apply, but the combined contribution of you and your spouse cannot exceed the total earned income reported jointly. That is true of traditional and Roth IRAs, so make sure you make the most of this savings vehicle if it is right for you. Wait, what do you mean if it's right for you? Recall my video a few weeks ago. The complexities of asset location is something that we must speak about in our planning from the front line. If you do not want all of your funds tied up in an IRA account that you're often penalized for accessing them before age 59 and a half, please remember you may want to have assets in retirement accounts as well as non-retirement accounts so that at age 55, retirement is still possible without a penalty to get your money. And the asset location will also affect the estate planning and the tax liability that you leave to your family. I want to mention one more thing about Roth IRAs today, something to keep in mind as we move into the new world of post-stretch IRA, the world of Secure Act and Secure Act 2.0. Gold star, if you can recall, without Google, what Secure actually stands for. Regardless of that, if you took advantage of the down market last year and converted your Roth IRA, the move may be working well for you. If you converted at the end of the year, your Roth, as of this morning, was up about 6.5%. And that growth was tax-free because of the Roth, but not without a cost. As you prepare your taxes and review your 1099s and 1099Rs, you'll recall that Roth conversion will cost you come April 18. This is one of those enjoy the meal, because when the bill comes, you may have some indigestion. So there are many reasons that you may have looked at even done your Roth conversions. We've spoken about them many times, and they include the longer-term estate plan, not leaving a tax time bomb, also the idea that tax rates may be higher for you down the road. We don't really know that, but with $31 trillion and counting in national debt, we have to pay it someday. Other reasons we've spoken about are diversify your tax liability. This is one that I'm a big proponent of. As we move from accumulation to distribution of your assets, it's often very helpful to have multiple types of tax buckets: the tax-free withdrawal, capital gains, and of course the taxable ordinary income. Sometimes one source is better than the other, so the flexibility can be helpful. Finally, if your withdrawals are all taxable, it may affect your Medicare cost calculations. This is one that I do see a lot. Just a few quick reminders. First, this Roth conversion strategy can still be done, and please let's discuss it with your tax advisor. Also, if you did this and your big tax bill comes, please remember why you did this. Be upset about it if you want, but just do that for a few days, because if you have to, even a year. But if you don't do it, you may be upset about it for the rest of your life, and your heirs may be also. Important reminder, this is complex tax information. I do not give personal tax advice. We will need to consult your tax advisor to confirm if these work for you. That's enough for today. I want to take this last minute to end where we started. Remind you, this is a marathon, not a sprint. There's so much noise going on around. Please keep in mind that we are working from your goals, and most of those goals will not change when the price of used cars goes up from month to month. Stay focused on the goals. We'll continue to do what we always do, our process. Identify the goals, develop a plan to reach those goals, execute those goals, evaluate the goals on an ongoing basis, and then make changes when they're necessary. Please stay in touch. We'll do all we can to make that process flow for you. Monday's a market holiday, President's Day, so come back on Tuesday for the market update. Have a great weekend.